everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Believe it or not, even after 8 hours plus of watching TV.
10 hours and 20 minutes and 8 seconds.
Ugh. Binge watching American Horror Story Season 1. We're back at it to Why are you doing that? To review Season 10, third episode called Thirsty, I believe.
Thirst.
Oh, Thirst. Well, what's the difference?
Thirst. It's called Thirst, Safi, not Thirsty. It's called Thirst. Get it right, or else I'm going to dislike your video. I'm just kidding.
Well, okay, I'm sorry, but there's all kinds of things wrong with this episode.
This episode sucked.
And I don't know, it's not the acting, it's not the actors, it's what they did with the story.
It's the writing, as usual.
And what in the hell?
Do you know how many rewrites this needed? This needed 1 million rewrites. You know, they talk about rewrites all the time on the show, because the writer-main characters, this episode needed a lot of rewrites to fix. This entire episode was trash.
And this show is about writers. I mean, come on. Okay, well, where do we even begin?
Well, let's just start off and rate the episode for people still in anticipation of, because I know that, people, when they hear that you don't like something, they automatically think you give it an F. Well, I don't actually automatically do that, I'm very fair with the rating system. The first episode, why are you saying that, Sav? I'm very fair. When have I not been fair? Give me an example and I'll defend it.
I just know, but it's just ridiculous.
Well, the first episode was like a B+, and that's being generous because it was a setup episode. Setup episodes are hard to be good because they're just setting things up, and nothing's actually happening except for setup. The second episode I gave an A, and I thought it was really good, and it was really a nice little episode of a horror show. This episode was complete garbage from beginning to end. There was a couple of things that I guess I liked, like the part where Macaulay Culkin faces off against that the druggie, what do you call it, seller, supplier, whatever, when he faces off against him and they have a battle on the beach, and then the water turns red. That was kind of cool. It was basically done just for style because, let's be honest, he killed someone right out in the open on the beach.
In the daytime.
Where
right?
people could see him. Someone even saw him, but he didn't care because he probably takes the pill too, or he's going to take the pill.
He's too far. Said he was too far away to see anything specific.
That Holden character, he said he's some sort of a big fancy designer, so he'll probably take the pill too. He doesn't care. And so, but still, he killed someone right out in the open. So if you like this scene, fine, because I liked it too. But realize it's basically just style over substance, which is the running theme with the show, style over substance. And, we're going to do a lot of stuff, but it's all going to be trash writing. It's all going to have plot holes. It's not going to be written well, and it's going to just be completely over the top. So, Safi, I'm going to throw your phone.
What are you doing?
You're not looking at your phone while we do a review. Fuck that shit. So, let's start. Come on, Safi, review the episode.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Why not?
Because I don't want to do that.
Why?
I just don't. Anyways. Most of the things that were, first of all, was it this episode or last episode?
Last episode?
Last episode where the little girl told her mother that she wasn't
that was last episode.
Okay, well, it's filtered into this one now. The mother had to go to the hospital because Her blood pressure was way up. It's very, you can actually have to take blood pressure medication when you're pregnant. If it gets bad, you can get this condition that's very dangerous. But anyway,
I don't
she had to
know
go to the
about that.
hospital, so she wasn't even in the episode for the most part.
I don't know about that though, Safi. You know, I don't know about that. You're just not paying attention. You just don't get this episode. You know, you don't know anything about pregnant women.
Actually, I do. I went through 2 pregnancies, so I do know about that. And I had to take blood pressure medication in my second one.
Shit.
So anyway, she fell down the stairs, so they made her go to the hospital for a few days. But during this few days, it was like to hell and back for the father and the daughter. And I'm going to tell you, that father, we had just watched a whole season of episode 1 where they had 1,000.
Season 1, Safi.
Season 1 where they had 1 million more episodes than this season is going to have. And the father was just, well, in a way, he's not a psychiatrist, he's a writer, okay? But he's like her uncle. Because the whole thing with their daughter she's a supreme violinist. I know, because I played violin too. And she's amazing. I mean, if she could really do that.
She's a wet blanket. She's a wallflower, party crasher, buzzkill.
Marco, what are you doing? She's only like 9 years old.
Yeah, but they're treating her like an adult. They're acting like she's just like, there's this scene where she like negotiates with her father about like, okay, if you take this pill, we're going to have to test you all the time. Are you okay? We're going to have to do this. You're going to have to agree. And it's like, why in the fuck are they negotiating? They're in a restaurant, like, negotiating. Like, she's an 18-plus-year-old adult. She's going to be a completely different person when she's 18. She's not going to be the same bratty bitch who says that her mom should be taken out of the picture because they don't need her mom. Her mom is a weak link. You know the weak link in the show? The writers.
Well, just the way she's already, before she took the pill, she wasn't just a perfectly sweet little girl. She was very driven, and there's a problem with that.
Yeah, she had a problem, clearly.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a goal. And she had a great goal. But it's like I was telling Marco in this other show, but it's true, you can apply this in real life. I mean, it is a real life thing.
It's a real problem.
About the girl chess player who's really good, and she wants to talk with this boy. Well, I know that,
but let's not talk about that shitty show.
He wanted to be a supreme chess player, known throughout the world, famous, just like this girl. She wants to do the same thing.
That show sucks.
And Marco, and if you don't know, you didn't watch it.
I watched enough of it, and
we're not grading that show.
I give that show an F-, Safi.
Okay, Mark. Well, I don't. Anyway, the attitude of the boy, he's a little older. He's like probably 12 or 13, and she's 9. It's like, what, the girl chess player who's really excellent, she says, well, after you achieve what you want to achieve, then what? And that's what you have to say with this little girl. She's only 9. She's already a supreme violinist.
Safi, you like that show so much, you can't even remember the name of the show, the name of the main character. I mean, fuck off with that shit.
Okay, Marco, I'm telling you.
What's the name of the show?
I don't know.
What's the name of that character, the female chess player? What's her name?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, but I just want to say, though, the attitude is the same. She's only 9. She's not even 13. And she already wants to be a perfect, and she's really good. And I've been around these violinists who want to be like that. They practice at least 8 hours a day.
And Safi, let's be honest, too. If this girl had wanted to be a video gamer, like a pro gamer, and she had been spending all the time she plays gaming, they would never have let her do that. So,
Yeah,
it's
well,
almost
that's probably true.
it's almost like her being a violinist, like, oh, it's okay because it's violin playing. Like, if it was something else that they deemed, like, not good, that they didn't like, they wouldn't let her do that. The dad might have forced her to stop taking the black pill.
Yeah, but the thing is, and he even brought it up when they were talking, when the daughter and the father were talking. He said, you are already really, really good, which is true. Why would you want, you don't need to do this. You don't need to take this pill. And, she argued with him. She had a justification argument, but
she
still.
wants to be the greatest, Safi.
But after that, then what? She has no idea. That's the thing. She's a kid. And her ideas about things are kiddish because she doesn't know what it's
childish.
like. Yes.
And the dad just acts like she's right.
I know.
It's pathetic.
He is not a father. He acts like her uncle or something. Or the grandpa was not old enough to be a grandpa, but just like she can do whatever she wants because
Dundle Diddle never acted like that.
I don't care. He doesn't act like her father.
Yeah.
And he goes running off to get blood, and now he's getting extra for her now. Okay, they made an agreement, and that he would do that, and so he's going out with these other two people, these riders, and he does blatantly in front of them, gets this extra blood, and I don't think he should have hidden that. And he just blatantly does it like it's no big deal.
Well, they needed the plot to happen, so he couldn't have done that, Safi. They had to have him blatantly do that so that they could then have more of the shitty plot happen. Because this show, the biggest issue with the show is plot conveniences. They will let anything happen as long as it suits their plot. They forget about characters that exist. They did that in season 1. There were characters that they basically just forgot about, and they never even gave them any story development or anything.
I know. And they just hung out there, and then they disappeared. Poof, like
an Andy Griffith show. They just disappear, and it's like, this is shitty, lazy writing. They just forget about whatever they want to forget about. They just do whatever they want to do. And I'm sorry, but when you write something, you can't do that. It's not good writing at all.
And I wasn't even thinking about this. Show's about writers. Yeah. And they're screwing around with the writing. I don't get it. But then, and then at the end, the whole thing at the end, maybe the last, what'd you say, 20 minutes?
We're not at the end yet. We have to go through the whole episode, Safi.
Well, I don't know what else to say. The ending is so abhorrent and really pissed me off that
we'll get to the ending.
Okay, well, just the whole attitude of the father, and Marco made a great analogy or a great comparison, metaphor, I don't know what, that the father wears his backpack, and he's running around, getting the blood, going back and forth from place to place, to person, and then he comes home. It's like a guy in a video game. You're following him, and he has to fight people along the way to get to the boss or to make it home or whatever.
And then the bosses are Bell and the Austin guy. So it's almost like he puts on this backpack, and I could see
it as a video game.
And it's like, okay, daughter, I'm going to leave you now so I can go off on a blood mission. And then he comes back. It's like shitty video game writing. It reminds me of that shitty God of War game that came out, where he has a son, and he's got to do things with the son, and they just make everything weak and pathetic in that game. If you've ever... It's a fun game, but... in terms of writing, trash writing, and they really nerf the characters. And in this show, where to even begin with this episode?
Well, let's talk about the publicist or the agent or whatever she is. I don't even know what she is. I guess she's an agent.
Ursula.
She comes roaring. Did he expect her to come? I didn't think that he.
I don't know if he wanted her to come.
Well, I don't know. No, I don't think she said she was coming. there, but she shows up, and she is a biatch.
She's
First to everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
And here's these monster people running around at night. They're bald, and they're like in that Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Those men, the good men, or
the
whatever.
Gentlemen, Safi.
The gentlemen
The
floating
gentlemen.
around and smiling.
the
They're
gentlemen-
like that. Only they're like gangly.
The gentlemen were badass though, and they had talent.
These
they
guys were just.
They're not. They didn't even show those guys this episode though.
No, they didn't. But here's the father says, Ursula, because she comes popping in to see him and tells him some really good news about his writing. But anyway, he says you've got to really be careful at night around here, which is true. He was really being honest with her. And oh my God, she is such a biatch. It doesn't even matter. She would scare them away. That is how much of a biatch she was. I mean, I don't think I have ever seen. We've seen movies and shows with bullies and male bullies, female bullies,
Transgender bullies.
whatever bullies, we've seen them. And she is worse than any character like that. Bullies get scared by some certain things, whatever the person is and whatever they're afraid of. It changes from person to person. Of course, everybody's different. Nothing was scary of this girl because she's such a biatch.
She's such a trash character.
I just cannot believe it.
It's so funny how I complained about her. And then I don't know what people never really commented why they disliked the reviews, but I complained about her. I said she's garbage. I said she's like a satire character. She's a joke, and she is a joke. She came in this episode and she's making all these jokey comments about Quentin Tarantino. And can we just get off the Quentin Tarantino is the best writer? Because there are so many writers that are better than Quentin Tarantino. And so the whole joke with that was trash. But her character, I knew she was going to be trash. And isn't it funny how she came to the town and now she's going to ruin the whole show by being involved with the plot? She comes in this town and she just does whatever she wants.
And treats everybody terribly. Everybody.
Well, that's the point.
Nobody is immune from
of her
her
character,
biatchness.
That's the point, though, is that she's a bitchy Hollywood agent. But the thing is that her character does not fit. She's annoying. She's a garbage human being. You talked about with her and Mickey, the methy Macaulay Culkin. She was talking with him and she said that, people like you just don't write good scripts.
And why? Because of the way he looks?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really, and
sickening.
Another thing too, I think, I don't know what he wrote because we really never hear exactly, at least so far, what exactly they're writing about.
We won't get to it either.
Yeah, I can't. It's probably not even relevant.
Which is funny because, you could have done something clever where you showed like what they wrote, like at the beginning of the episode you could have like a little snippet of a scene that they wrote, and there could be some sort of a parallel between what they wrote and then what ends up happening.
Yeah,
so,
that would have been good.
So maybe they actually predict the future with their writing, and so they have to look at their writing to figure out what'll happen or something. Like they could have done something like that. But instead, it's just like, okay, they automatically type out gold, and the gold doesn't even matter. So is it really gold if we don't even know, like, what it is?
I don't know.
What's this, like, epic, amazing stories that they're writing? What are they?
Well, I just want to show you what a biatch she is. She goes to this the only restaurant in town. So if it's the only restaurant bar in town, that means it's a small town, okay? And they have that couple, the one who gave the pill to the writers too, of course. And they sang together. They performed together, and they were singing. I'm sure it was them. They were singing really well. People the very few customers they had were eating their dinner, or having a drink, and she's sitting there, and she starts criticizing them in public, and talking about the singing, or the song they were singing was crap, and she was trying to work and do something, and it was bothering her. And I mean, I could not believe it. And they were like, they're bad, and she's just making herself a target for everybody, and she's already made herself a target for somebody else. I don't know if you want to touch on that, but maybe we shouldn't.
They're
But
good
anyway.
they're good at singing too. They were
thought
good
it
at
was
singing.
pretty good. I thought it was entertaining. It wouldn't, people, who cares? And it was just
It's
entertaining.
free.
It was light.
It's free to listen to too. You don't even have to pay for it, you privileged Hollywood bubble bitch.
Well, anyway, but for her, that's what I'm saying. Nobody was exempt from, and I think she did mention those, even though we didn't see it, those bald-headed weirdos running around in the evening. And I told you, it wouldn't matter, with them, she's such a horrible person, she'd scare them away.
I think they're trying to, these writers with their their style over substance writing, they're like trying to make a point, like that people in Hollywood, they're really evil and cold, and the problem is that it doesn't come across because this character is a cartoon, and the way that they treat her, especially at the end, it's like, if you wanted to make something with actual meaning, where you're talking about what people in Hollywood are like, you'd actually have to have it be meaningful. You can't just have it be a cartoon like this, where you throw logic out the window and you just do whatever you want. Like let's talk about the police chief. She's good at acting, but this character is garbage. And she starts right off the bat. She barges into their home and she wants to take the daughter in for questioning because she had blood on her, and the blood, and it's funny because she's there. I said in the first 2 episode reviews, how are these vampires just getting away with killing 52 plus people, probably hundreds of people each year? How are they getting away with that? Like, and no one's noticing. No one.
And by
No
the
one's
time,
noticing.
a few years later, there are not going to be any people left.
Yeah,
That's because it's a small area. There's not that many people. Like I said, there's one restaurant and a bar for the whole town. What does that tell you about the town? The size of the town. Okay? And this is where we're getting to the last part of the episode, which is really what I had a lot of problems with. Marco just brought it up. She's not even supposed to be talking to that little girl without an adult present. What he did, he went out in his gathering blood mission, and he left the publicist with her. Well, the publicist had a headache, and she needed a nap.
She needs to go take an aspirin and put the view on low volume while she takes a nappy poo.
So anyway, the police chief, not just even a regular policeman, is talking to her and asked the daughter, because the publicist is upstairs taking a nap. Okay, so she's totally out of the room, doesn't even know the police chief is there. And she starts questioning her without an adult present. Never would happen these days. Ever. And then she gets mad and threatens her and says, okay, well, I'm taking you down to the police station. Really? Really? You really are, huh? I mean, come on, people. That just isn't... That's the thing with writing. There has to be real things in there that this just can't be like made up willy-nilly and not make sense, or it just looks like a joke. You can't take it seriously, and you just laugh and just brush it aside and say it's no good because of something like that happening. Really, the police chief would tell that little girl who's like 9 that she's going to take her down to the police station?
And then she's gonna arrest her father.
Yeah, for what? I mean, come on. She doesn't know anything. I mean, I just freaked out. I like, what? Between the little girl and her sociopathic heart, which means she has no heart, and then this police chief completely violating the law. Her civil rights, and she's a kid.
Maybe she's mad she never got her mac and cheese. Remember that from the first episode?
Oh, I don't... Yeah.
That was a joke I said in the first episode review, and I was like, did she ever get her mac and cheese? Because I still don't think she ever got her mac and cheese.
So guess what happens? It's
she
really...
kills her.
The little girl...
And...
well, I don't know what happened exactly, but she had enough force to knock into her, and she had a knife or something and cut her in the neck on her carotid artery. And she killed her. And guess what? The further, I mean, I just couldn't believe it. So, you see the blood, like, because it's the artery, okay? It's gushing out, and, you know, she's bleeding out. Take 2 seconds, okay? And the father comes bopping in there with his little backpack.
He's got his backpack.
And the publicist sitting there. They're at the counter, and they have a little counter. And the little girl and the publicist, and she says, "I gotta talk to you." That's the publicist. And the police chief is lying on a table, a coffee table. And there's 2 buckets, like, let's say it's raining and there's a leak and you put a bucket there to catch the water. It's catching the blood. There's 2 buckets of blood underneath the coffee table, catching the police chief's blood.
They're bowls.
Bowls, I mean.
Bowls that you could put mac and cheese in.
And the little girl, it's perfectly all right that she killed her. Really? So, and the father just comes bopping in there with his little old backpack.
And he's like, ooh, what happened? And that's how they end, like, okay. Like,
I mean, really?
Is there a stupid father every season? Like, I'm only in episode, like, 5 or 6 in season 2. And I'm trying to think, has there been a stupid father yet?
Yeah.
Not in season 2. You wouldn't know about season 2.
But in season 1
That's
there
what I was talking
it started
about.
it all off.
I was talking about season 2, though.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think there has been a stupid father yet. There's been stupid other people, though, that's for sure. But you skipped ahead a little bit, like a lot. So
well, we can't. Yeah. We can't go over the entire thing, can we?
I can't. I can do whatever I want.
Well, whatever. I'm done.
Because I want to be a perfect reviewer, Safi. I don't want to be the greatest. I mean, I don't want to be great. I want to be the greatest movie reviewer, TV show reviewer.
Whatever. It's just ridiculous. The whole episode went. It's like you have a clogged drain, which we have a clogged drain in the bathroom. And it's like you fix it and then all the water goes suddenly down really fast. The whole episode went down the drain really fast when a few things happened.
It went down the drain.
And killing the police chief.
Well, no, it went down the drain as soon as the agent came to town. And it's like, ugh, gross. Like, I thought this character was just going to be like a minor character, and she comes in and she's gonna be
roaring
a part of the plot now. Oh,
and she roars
gross.
in. She doesn't just come in.
Oh.
She roars in, and yeah, I guess so. It's kind of like the start of the sucking down the drain. You know where you hear a noise, the noise of it happening. You hear it, yeah, when she comes in.
But
and then when all those things happen at the end with the little girl and police chief, it goes shoo. And real quickly.
There's this part where the police chief is talking to Holden, and Holden's like a new character. He's played by the burn-faced guy from season 1, and he's even got a little hat on, like in season 1. And, you know, she's talking about how there's been all these people turning up dead all around, all over the place. She doesn't even mention the fact that 2 of those people were like a rape and murder couple. And they were raping and murdering men. And it's like, Okay, so you care about all these bodies showing up, but you don't care about the rape and murder couple and how you miss them and how you never got on to them and then they just get killed and it's like, what about them? Why didn't you catch them before? Why were you blind to them? Aren't you going to investigate into them a little bit and figure out like how many people they killed? Because they kill a bunch of people too, probably. And they and they had the video camera going too. And so did he erase the video camera footage? Did he take the video camera? They haven't even shown that yet. It reminds me of in that shitty Amazon show we watched, in the first episode, the woman in witness protection, she went right up to that little bully girl while she had her Instagram live camera on. And it's like no one saw that video footage of her and like what happened to that video footage? We never even found out what happened with any of that. But with this show it's like, what happened with that? Like there's just like so many plot holes and so many lapses in logic and you didn't even talk about the chemist yet. Safi
Oh,
from
yeah.
Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies. Macaulay Culkin takes the agent, Ursula, to the chemist, and the chemist is like this huge biatch who basically orders Belle and Austin to just kill everyone in town, basically.
Yeah, she gets offended by what they want, and the agent wants to make a deal with her about supplying her with the pills, and so she's very offended, and she asks those two people to kill them, Macaulay Culkin and the agent and the writer
And the writer's wife and the writer's daughter.
child. Yes,
Everyone.
right. And
All
like,
the main
really?
characters.
They're just gonna kill them, and it's okay.
No one's gonna notice this
Yeah,
big
nobody's
time,
gonna notice.
this big time Hollywood agent missing. The fucking people who made The Bachelor, because they talked about she represents the people who do The Bachelor. No one's gonna notice that the agent of The Bachelor people is missing.
Yeah, I'm like, what? So I mean, the whole episode is crap.
Terrible.
Sorry, crap.
What would you rate the episode,
I gave it
Safi?
an F. I'm sorry. I don't, you know me, if you've listened to the reviews, or at least listen to the end when I rate everything, I'm pretty generous and nice and fair. And I am being fair here. What in the hell are you, and plus, just the fact that this is about writing and writers, and the writers in this are flunking. They're flunking their duty to write a good episode. I mean, come on, interviewing a juvenile without representation, really? Yeah, I know it's a small town.
She just barges in there. Like, she's like, okay, daughter, I need to talk to you. What's going on here? Is your dad in a cult? Do you have a blood disease? What's going on in this town? What's going on?
Yeah, and I'm not saying the little girl had any excuse to kill her, because what she does is just as bad.
And then it's hilarious because the police chief is like, all these people who won't be missed, they have mothers and fathers and sons and cousins and brothers-in-laws. And it's like, well, they haven't even, no one even cares about them. These vampires have been coming here for years and years and just massacring people.
Off people.
And also, she talks about how she wanted to be an army ranger, and she said it was perfectly okay to kill the enemy, quote unquote. And it's like, well, excuse me, biatch, don't these, quote, enemies
have mothers
and fathers and sisters and brothers and cousins and sons and sons? Like, they have family too. They're people too. You shouldn't be getting into a moral argument with a 9-year-old girl.
I know. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
So I think we're done.
I gave it an F- for fuck this episode.
Well,
And
it's disappointing
yeah,
to me.
well,
It isn't like I want to do that. I want to trash it, but when you buy trash, what are you supposed to do?
yeah, I'm just supposed to sit there and be like, oh yeah, this was really good. It was the greatest show of all time.
No, it wasn't. And I'm going to say something. If I just don't know what the outcome is going to be, and I guess I'm just thinking about
Well,
being a parent, and having a child who's 9 and has this lofty goal, who's gone to the extreme, and she took that pill. That father allowed those pills to be out or easily found, and then she's so driven, which there's a problem with that. It's a problem, and that should have been addressed. And that she wants to take a pill so she can be so great she'll never have a life. And she even said, "I don't ever want to get married. And
I don't want to grow up and get no man. I want to play violin."
Well, she didn't say it like that, but still.
And it's, oh, I'm exaggerating for comedic effect, but it's like, okay, she's not going to hit puberty and she's not going to change when she's 18. Like, she's just permanently in this retarded mindset where all she cares about is playing the violin.
And I'm going to tell you something. I know people who are performers. They studied and they work to be performers. It's hard work. It's hard work, and you get tired.
You do know that the pill changes mood, too, because it did make the dad a jackass as well. So the dad should have also taken into account that she took the pill, and so he should take into account the fact that the pill, it changes your mood and it makes you a different person. So he should have known that, and he should have, he's a terrible father. He's way worse than Ben from season 1. Ben in season 1 is like a saint compared to this piece of shit, Harry. Hardcore Harry, whatever we could call him. Like, come up with a nickname for him. So, and also, just one last thing, whatever happened to Crybaby, Tuberculosis Karen? We don't even get to see her this episode. It's like, oh, we'll just forget about her. We're just gonna leave her because we're just gonna bring her in when she's convenient to the plot. This was terribly written. This episode was trash. It was way worse than I expected. I didn't expect a bad episode. I expected a good episode. I was excited to watch it. And I thought, last episode was an A. This episode should have been an A+.
Well, I just don't know where it's going to go. Because I don't know what's going to happen with the little girl. Well, Marco seems to think the mother, they've tried to make her a weak person, and that she's actually going to be the strong one, which is really the case in real life.
That would be kind of cool, too.
She'll do something to help everybody, or at least her family.
It would be pretty cool if how it ends is that she ends up saving the day,
we'll
and
see.
She ends up being the hero. That would be pretty cool.
I thought my idea was that they'd be able to convince the chemist to come up with a remedy.
Cure.
Yes, a remedy, especially for the child.
The chemist is trash.
Yeah, I know.
She's a
I
garbage
didn't expect
character.
that. I didn't expect that.
But
I just thought this is somebody who, they can do anything. That they just when they say the chemist, I was thinking it was a man. Sorry. And that it was somebody with, wire glasses and kind of old and just coming up with all these little experiments. Kind of like, what was it that we watched? It was one of those, the Blade movies with the, where there's a chemist and he has to save his daughter, so he has to come up with this, what was it, a bomb or something? I can't even remember.
My God. I don't even know what you're talking about.
And I wasn't even thinking this is a voodoo person. And she wasn't really the regular voodoo person. She was dressed in designer clothes and gold jewelry. And she wasn't like the regular, like what they usually show.
But I also wanted to mention just one last thing.
She was cold-hearted, too.
Is that There's actually a really good vampire movie that you should check out. It's actually a good movie. It's not shit like this. It's called Return to Salem's Lot. And in Return to Salem's Lot, the entire town are vampires. And even the children. And they have the children get into these, like, marriages and they're married at, like, age 12. It's really, like, screwed up town. And what they do is they raise cows and then they drink blood of like animals so that they don't have to kill people. And then they'll just kill people if they're like some druggies that like run into town and they get in trouble. But like most of the town was not doing that. And so it was only this small amount of like radical vampires who wanted to take over the town and wanted to, turn the town evil and killing people. So these people, they don't have to be killing people. They don't have to be drinking these entire people. They could do what these people do and raise animals and just drink blood from animals and stuff like that. But instead, it's trash.
And the way they're showing it, because the mother is only supposed to be in the hospital for a few days. So if you measure it by her, she hasn't been there. They've already killed a few people, and like, how many times do you have to have that much?
Only a week. Only each week, remember? It's like once a week.
There's no way, because the mother's only going to be in the hospital. Wasn't this for a few days?
4 or 5 days, yeah.
And so, that's why I say, I think that there'd be so many. You're talking about 3 people going out, each killing somebody, and so they have 3 victims a day? Really?
I am going to add a clip to our binge buffet intro too, because there's a part in the episode where Evan Peters says, "Oh, look, it's a buffet." And I thought that would be good to add in with the binge buffet intro. So anyways, if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment, tell us that our review is a waste of oxygen like you did with the first 2 episodes, because it's really funny to read, because they just get deleted automatically. It's like, well, your comment was a waste of fingers typing, and then subscribe to our channel for more American Horror Story reviews. And who knows, if the next episode is good, we'll give it a good review. So anyways, that's it. Goodbye.
Bye.